Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to COS Indiana Live. My name's Dale Parrish. I am the State Director for Convention of States here in Indiana. And I want to welcome you to our broadcast tonight. Bear with us. We're trying a little different format tonight. But basically, the overall broadcast is going to be the same. But we're making some changes. So bear with us tonight. We're hopefully going to shorten the entire broadcast, or that's the ultimate goal. So we'll see what happens. You may notice, those of you that have watched this before, Maringo Mike has the night off. We'll have him back next week. Going to try and use him in a little different way from now on, but he will be back. I did want to mention tonight that I'm going to bring this on and show you much of what we're going to talk about tonight, and much of what we talk about every Monday evening, is all available to you in a couple of our main resources that I want to point out to you. And the first resource that I want to point out is our state newsletter. Now, if you're a supporter of Convention of States here in Indiana, and you've opted to receive email, you'll get this newsletter every month. But if you're not a supporter of Convention of States here in Indiana, which we hope you will decide to do that, this newsletter is available on our state Facebook page, Convention of States Indiana, and also available on our national website, conventionofstates.com. So I would urge you to check out our newsletter. It's got all the current events, event calendar. It's got articles. It's got a wealth of information that I think you will find very, very interesting. And of course, I also want to mention that our state newsletter is also on our national website, conventionofstates.com. And once again, that is also another resource where everything we talk about on this broadcast can all be traced to our national website. So I wanted to be sure to point this out to you as a resource for what we present to you here on Convention of States in Indiana. So I want to then just quickly brief you on our segments tonight. The first segment of our broadcast will be the interview segment. We let me get my I need to get my banner straightened out here so that we can guide you through what I'm talking about here. So our first segment, like I said, will be the interview segment. And tonight we have another one of our new leadership individuals. This gentleman is our new legislative liaison. I'll be bringing him on very shortly here. His name's Marty Wood, and I think you're going to find him quite interesting to hear him talk about his new duties as our new legislative liaison. Second segment is going to be contributors, and this has turned out to be a very popular segment in our broadcast. Once again, tonight we have John Ackerman with one of his John's Journal contributions. So I'm sure you'll find that very, very interesting when I bring John on. And then the final segment will be our invitation. And in this segment, we'll kind of wrap things up and invite you to join Convention of States here in Indiana. And I'll show you how to go about doing that. Okay. Now, I also want to mention all along the way, viewer comments. If you want to make a comment, please feel free to comment or ask a question, and I'll do my best to get it on here, and we'll entertain it the best we can. Okay. So without further ado, I want to now get into our first segment, and I want to bring on Marty Wood. So let me bring Marty. Hello, Marty.
Hi, Dale. How are you?
Fine, fine. I always tell my guests that when I bring them on that we're going to pretend like we haven't seen each other in a long time, when in fact that's not true. But we pretend that we are doing that. And I want to get the proper banners up here. So Marty, you are our new legislative liaison. Um, you're taking the place of Paul Phillips, who's been our legislative liaison for some years now. And Paul is moving on to some other duties at the national level. And Marty, well, I'll let Marty tell you how he got into this when we get into his story. But to start off, Marty, and I announced Marty as our new legislative liaison on our state call here last Wednesday evening. Now, mind you, folks, this call involves all the leadership people here in our state, and I introduced Marty as our new legislative liaison, and I had some people actually comment, "What's a legislative liaison?" So they were new people. They were new people to our organization. So they are still learning the ins and outs of our organization. So, Marty, for those that are not familiar with what a legislative liaison does, you want to get into what the responsibilities and role is of the legislative liaison?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this position was not there originally when COS started, but it came on as we all, including Indiana, passed our petition. So the focus of the legislative liaison is to work with the legislators to get our petition passed. Now, we've already done that, obviously, so didn't mean that the position went away. It means that we now have even more work to do within the state of Indiana. To continue to build relationships with our legislators, looking to do that from all the way down to the grassroots level, so that more and more people across the state, more and more members and supporters of Convention of States can build relationships with their legislators that will allow us to influence them. Technically, it takes about 3% to influence a legislator and to get something passed. And, overall in Indiana, we've got that or very close to it in overall supporters. We're just not and have not been that active. Now, Paul had laid a very good foundation for this over the last several years, and I was fortunate enough to get on his team last year, myself and 3 or 4 others. And we tackled 3 bills that went through the House and Senate. 2 of them passed and became bills. The third one died in the Senate, although it had a lot of supporters. But we very quickly, ramped up a team that built strong relationships, helped testify on behalf of the bill, and got an opportunity for COS to get exposure through that effort at a statewide level with those testimonies. So it's really about building relationships with all of the legislators in our districts, in our representative districts, as well as the senators. We want to continue to foster the legislation, the types of legislation that COS supports. And if you take a look at our petition, which is government overreach, reducing the power and authority of the federal government, well, we've got some strong opportunities in Indiana to reduce.
And that covers a wide range of issues, doesn't it?
That does. Our executive branch in Indiana is very much out of control. The balanced budget amendment, Indiana does a pretty good job historically with budgets. However, I think you could probably get 10 people in a room and you'd get 9 different responses on how we spend our money.
Exactly.
And so there's opportunities there on spending bills. And then term limits is something that, I was just going through some training, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but 85% of the general public supports term limits. And that's, of course, in our petition as well, term limits at the federal and federally elected positions.
Right.
But the only position that's term limited in Indiana is our governor, and he's in his second and last term. But I think there's opportunities there, and this is a torn issue. I don't even know that sometimes I agree with it. However, when you look at a legislator, and the legislator doesn't recognize that much of the general public supports term limits, are they really legislating on our behalf, or are they becoming, tyrannical and a dictator if they don't want to support that?
Yeah.
And that's a fair question, I think. But I've always been in favor, frankly, too. Most of us have jobs, and I've never faulted anybody for liking a job in politics and serving our country or our state. But you want to see people advance. So term limits gives people an opportunity to, run for school board. They do a good job and they like politics. Run for city council. Get term limited out. You get done with that, run for a mayor. So there's opportunities to go, but a lot of them don't avail themselves of that opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we definitely we want to become a force. We want to become a force to deal with here in the state of Indiana and nationally, as far as that's concerned. So, okay. Well, Marty, I warned you ahead of time on this. I always like to ask my guests to tell us their COS story, not your life story, but your how, when, where you got involved in COS. And I know, Marty, you go way back. You go way back when this first all started here in Indiana, way before many of us, most of us that are currently involved. So tell us your COS story.
Well, I got started, I think, like a lot of us in COS in the Tea Party, when things really kind of went to hell in a handbasket in 2007, 2008 timeframe, and worked with the Tea Party organizations and pushed on things and got frustrated like everybody, I think, a lot of times. But I happened to meet your predecessor, Diane Gomez, who was our state champion early on in the early days, at a Tea Party meeting, and then got invited to hear her talk about Convention of States in 2013. And, immediately said, wait, tell me more, because like most people, I knew about Article 5 and amending the Constitution, but I realized I didn't know the rest of the sentence. And I became a coalitions director. Diane and I went around the state giving numerous presentations to build support and share information and education regarding Article 5. And I prepared a slide deck that had one slide was the first thing that almost everybody knew. And in fact, I asked everybody, how many people have heard of this, where 2/3 of Congress will meet and propose amendments, and then those amendments that get passed by that 2/3 majority get submitted to the states for ratification, and 3/4 of the states are required to ratify. And everybody's hand in the audience would go up that they'd all heard about that part. But when I threw up the second slide, which was, I left it as almost an independent sentence. I said, it said, or, I took out the or, but I said a convention of states can be called by the states to basically sideline Congress. And same thing, 2/3 of the states would submit amendments and for approval. And then those amendments would go to the states, and 3/4 of the states were required to ratify. I said, how many people have heard of that? And in 30 plus presentations around the state, no hand ever went up in the audience, and got me wondering, just like I did when I first met Diane, why did nobody ever hear about the rest of that sentence? It's all and the third slide showed the whole sentence, and I said, it's in the same sentence, people. And we never were taught this,
That's exactly right.
So, that really got me juiced up about Article 5 and Convention of States. And I was an active supporter through those presentations. And then when we got it passed, I happened to change jobs and got very busy. And, I thought, well, we passed our petition. That's good. We kind of checked that box. But I've always stayed involved. I've been a contributor on a regular basis, and I retired in March. And same day I retired, I called Diane back up, not knowing what had happened with the organization or anything else since then, really. But within Indiana anyway. And I said, hey, I want to get back involved on a full-time basis. What do I got to do? And here I am.
There you are. All right, good. Well, lucky us. I tell you, you're coming along at a very good time. Well, as I thought, we're running a little bit long here. I wanted you to have an opportunity to talk about objectives. How about let's narrow it down to what's your one main objective that you want to try and achieve?
Sure. Well, I learned last year in working with Paul on this that, we had a good team of dedicated people, and we got most of our objectives taken care of. But to really get the depth of the knowledge of what's happening in our legislative session, what's coming up, trying to be as proactive as possible. I've got a goal that I'd like to get a legislative liaison appointed in every region in our state.
Okay.
And so we, as some of you know, we've just been going through a realignment, taking the 8 or 9 regions to 14. And so I'm going to be talking to those regional directors, regional captains, and district captains, and trying to get a legislative liaison member of the team in every region.
I just thought, Marty, that could be a volunteer, right? That could be anyone that has a strong interest in this part of what we're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm actually looking for new grassroots, somebody from our grassroots supporter list, because the captains are busy, the regional captains are busy. There's a number of things already going on. So we need some new people and some new objectives to help reach out to these legislators in their respective region.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, I know you're very involved, and we always like to touch on this topic of self-governance. And I know that's something that you're very strong on. You want to tell us about your endeavors in self-governance.
Yeah, well, I think all of us are going through anxiety with our local school board, and to some extent with the health department and local government issues. But my focus has been specifically with our school board. I'm in Hamilton County and Hamilton Southeastern School District. So I've been very active in school board meetings, arguing the issues that are going on in the school board, from social emotional learning issues, where we had an article in the local news about the pornography that is those kids are exposed to at very young ages, second grade, through that program.
Folks, I had Marty and I were on a national call just here recently, and I think yeah, I did do this on our national call, and I introduced Marty as our new legislative liaison, and I introduced him as our own domestic terrorist. And so, have you experienced that kind of conflict, Marty, with the school boards where you've testified?
I have. I've spoken a couple of times at board meetings, but I'll tell you, everybody has really kept it cool. We had one meeting that a lot of parents, the board literally did not want to allow parents to speak. A crowd got, loud, and the board was actually just as loud. They were arguing back and forth, and finally the board got up and walked out. Wow. We've got an adjacent school district in Carmel, Indiana, where now they've converted all their board meetings to Zoom calls, and they are not entertaining any questions. They will read questions that are submitted on chat in the Zoom call, but they won't answer them.
Really?
And so, it's a lot of anxiety is starting down here, and I think rightfully so. And Todd Rokita put out a great document. It's a parents' a Bill of Rights for dealing with your school board. I would encourage everybody to go on his website and download and read that. It quotes Indiana code, where it's very much in favor of your rights to a public meeting, your rights to speak to your school board, your rights to, speak aggressively to your school board and to hold them accountable. And it's in the Indiana law. And he put that out to remind school boards that parents have rights.
Yeah. I think you told me you're looking into becoming a precinct committeeman as well.
Yes, in a couple of years, that the position for my precinct opens up again. It just got filled with a person who's been there for a number of years. I've been back in the area for 8 years now, and I've never met her. And I think that's a very involved community position. And
many of us have stepped forward to take on those positions. Well, Marty, I think that's a wrap. Thank you for coming on, and I feel certain you're going to do a great job as our legislative liaison. Let me see if we got any comments here real quick. Here's Cynthia Baker just said hi. Hi, Dale, Auburn here. So she's referring to Auburn, Indiana.
Yeah.
So thank you, Cynthia, for joining us tonight. Jerry Rowe, one of our SIAs, is greeting everyone, saying hi to everyone. So had a few comments there this evening. Marty, I think that's a wrap. I want to thank you for coming on, and glad to have you on board, and looking forward to we'll bring you on again as we get into 2022 and the legislative session, and you're getting your objective of getting more legislative liaisons throughout the region. So we'll have you back.
Very good. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right, Marty. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Marty Wood, folks. I think Marty is going to be a great addition to our team here in Indiana. So very, very happy to have Marty with us. Okay. Next segment, the contributor segment. And this here we've got another contribution from our own John Ackerman, John's Journal. So let's bring John on and hear what he's got on his mind tonight. Okay.
John Ackerman for Convention of States. Today I want to read a message that was written by Chris Widener. These are not my words, these are Chris's words. It's heartbreaking to see the totalitarian left drumming up everything they can to start a race war. Everything is about race now. The left wants us all to hate each other. The answer? Love one another. Whoever is in front of you today, love them. Treat them the way Jesus would treat them. It doesn't matter what color they are, love them. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight. Jesus loves all the little children of the world. Reject hate. Reject fear. Embrace love. Thank you, Chris, for writing these inspiring words.
All right. Thank you, John. Always enjoy John's contributions. We have some other individuals that we'll be featuring from time to time and have featured. These are individuals that, have strong opinions about things going on in our country. And so we give them an opportunity to pre-record a short dissertation of what they want to talk about. So John John just loves to do this. I have a whole library full of John's journal. So we'll be featuring different ones from time to time. So hope you enjoyed John's journal. Well, I want to get now into the final segment of our broadcast this evening, and that is the invitation segment. And I want to lead off that segment with a really good video that I hope you will enjoy very short video. Then I'll come back and we'll wrap it up for the evening. So here's a little short video for you.
After the last election, liberty-minded Americans faced a difficult question. What do we do now? Our cities have been ravaged by riots. Calls from the left to defund the police continue unabated, while violent crime and murder rates skyrocket across the country. Joe Biden controls the White House. Sort of. Really, we all know that Joe Biden's no longer in control of his faculties, and others behind the scenes actually control the agenda. Socialists control Congress. Leftists control the deep state. Marxists control our country's schools and universities, and the tech oligarchs are their willing censors and watchful spies. So who has a plan to stop them? Certainly, we're not seeing courage from Capitol Hill to stand up to the Democrats and their woke mob. The good news is that we do have a plan to stop them. This is the only plan that bypasses Biden and Congress to save the republic. And this plan brings the fight to where we, the people, have a political advantage. While many Americans were disappointed in the outcome of this election at the presidential level, liberty-minded state legislators quietly swept to enormous victories. Now's the time to use this to our advantage and draw the fight for our liberties out of the swamp and into the battlefield where we, the people, have the advantage, in the states. This plan to call a convention of states can propose constitutional amendments that prohibit Congress from adding justices to the Supreme Court or states to the Union. This plan can secure our Second Amendment rights. It can eliminate the woke Department of Education, and it can stop the federal government from taking over the state election process. You need to know that this plan's underway already, and it's working. Join 5 million supporters and citizen activists, along with my friends Mark Levin, Rand Paul, Ben Shapiro, Glenn Beck, Mike Huckabee, Sean Hannity, and many, many more.
The Convention of States, ultimately, fundamentally, the way to secure our republic.
Washington is so broken it may not be fixable, and that the only way you'll truly get reform is by having a convention where people decide, we need to have term limits, or we have to have a balanced budget amendment.
I have endorsed it, and I believe very strongly that it's the only way we're ever going to get a balanced budget amendment. It's the only way we're ever going to be able to bring some real reform to our system.
I mean, I've been a longtime supporter of the Convention of States and to reestablish the sort of guiding principles of the Constitution.
You have a chance of really saving the republic. I am all in. ConventionofStates.com.
And now I'm joining Convention of States to make this happen. So join me in this constitutional revolution at ConventionofStates.com. They have a petition. Go sign it today.
Support the only plan that bypasses Biden and Congress to save the republic. Sign the petition at ConventionofStates.com.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that short video. And that was Mark Meckler, our president, CEO, narrating that video. And I think he pretty well explained it. Article 5 of the Constitution, Convention of States, to propose amendments to the Constitution. Any amendments that would be proposed would then have to be ratified by 3/4 of the state legislatures. That's 38 state legislatures would have to ratify any proposed amendments that would come out of the Convention of States. So I think, folks, it's just it's something that we're going to make happen. Now, we need 34 states to come on board to make this happen. We have 15 right now, and we've got a few that are right on the line and to add to that number 15. And yes, Indiana is one of those states. We were number 6 in the list of 15 states that have come on board calling for a convention. So we're going to make this happen, folks. We are going to make this happen. I want to show you now, if you're interested in becoming a supporter of Convention of States here in Indiana, I want to show you how you go about doing that. All right. And I want to show you how, if you have some interest in becoming a leader or getting involved in a leadership role, I'm going to show you how you do that too. The very first step is to go to our national website, conventionofstates.com. This is what you're going to see when you go to that website. And so to become a supporter, you go ahead and fill out the information, give us your information. Your address is very, very important. Put you in the proper district that you belong in. And so fill out the information, sign the petition. This is the very first step to becoming a supporter here in Indiana in Convention of States. Now, if you have an interest in getting involved in a leadership position, if you can follow my cursor here, I'm going to take you up here to the very top where it says Take Action. That's a menu selection at the very top. If you click on that menu selection, Take Action, it'll take you to this page. And then you go to Become a Leader, and you can scroll down and see all the different leadership opportunities that we have here in Convention of States. So that's where you can look at the different leadership positions, read about them. If there's one of interest, go ahead and make application. You're not obligated in any way, but it'll help us get in contact with you then to discuss further your interest in that position. So that's how you get involved in Convention of States, folks. And we would love to have you get involved. We would love to have you become a supporter. Being a supporter is a key step. Taking on a leadership position, if you have the time, and that would even be an additional step to take. So that's how you go about getting involved in Convention of States. And I want to thank everyone that's participated tonight. I had a few more comments here. Unfortunately, Marty's left us, but Susan Lyon said, welcome, Marty, and thanks for all that you do. So glad to have you tonight, Susan. And this young man here also said thank you to Marty. And this is Travis Harrison. And Travis, just so happens, is going to be my guest on next Monday evening's COS Indiana Live. Travis is a new district captain here in Indiana. So Travis, you're going to be, it's good you made this comment tonight. You're going to be my guest next Monday. So I'm glad you made a comment tonight. And here's Susan Lyon making another comment about very nice segment, John, I think, and she was referring to John Ackerman and John's journal. So thank you, Susan, for tuning in tonight. Susan is our newsletter editor, one of our editors, and Susan does a great job on our newsletter. So thank you, Susan, for tuning in tonight. And I just want to leave you with one thought here, folks, that we need your help to make this Convention of States happen. And keep in mind now, when we make this happen, folks, we're going to be making history. This has never been done. Never a Convention of States for the purpose of proposing amendments according to Article 5 has never been done. So we're going to be making history. So come along, won't you? And join our family and help us make this happen. Well, folks, that's a wrap for tonight. And I'll see you next Monday evening, 7 p.m. for COS Indiana Live. Good night, everyone.